Guys, today we're going to start talking about figurative language. Figurative language is that non literal interpretation of literature, that non literal interpretation of phrases, and most often authors will use figurative language to describe something or help you get a mental picture, or compare it to something that experience that you might have had to better help you to understand what's going on in the story. So we're going to talk about 5 specific types of figurative language. The first one is a simile. A simile is going to be comparing and contrasting two things using like or as. It is as hot as fire. Because we have the as there and we're saying hot and fire, we're comparing those two things, it's a simile. Now, when you're reading that in a text, you don't say, oh, that's a simile, but you do say, wow, it must be very hot. And that's why the author uses that language. It's something that you can compare to. You know fire. You understand how hot it is. And therefore, it helps you to make the connection and understand how very hot it is. Then we also have metaphors. Metaphors are very similar to similes, except they do not use like or as. So they're going to be comparing two things just like a simile, but they are not going to use the language a lot of like or as. Okay? So if I said, it's raining cats and dogs, I'm comparing the rain to cats and dogs, which would be lots and very heavy, right? So I'm saying basically it's raining very hard. However, I didn't use like or I didn't use as, so it's not a simile. So I'm comparing that rain to cats and dogs, and that's a metaphor. All right, third type, onomatopoeia. Lots of people have trouble saying that word. It's a sound word. So when you have words in a text like boom or ah, those are going to be sound words. The sound that they make is also their meaning. So a boom is a boom, right? It's a sound word. It's there for effect to help you to really feel like you're connecting with the literature. You're there. You can hear it. You are connecting with what's going on. That's an onomatopoeia. Alliteration is going to be repetition of the same beginning letter for effect. So a lot of times we hear these in elementary school and they're like tongue twisters. So it's like Sally, sat, silly, singing, sunshines. That would be an alliteration. So when you're repeating that S over and over again, it could just be 2 times. It could just be 3 times. It doesn't have to be a tongue twister amount of times. It could, but it's done for effect to give you that same letter at the beginning of the word over multiple times. And then last but not least, we have personification, which is going to be giving human qualities to a non-human. Most of the time in literature, this is going to be animals. They have animals talking, which we know animals don't talk. They're going to have animals doing things like having houses. The book that I just finished reading with my son, there was a polar bear, and he got all this stuff and made his house a home. He had a grandfather clock, and he had a bed, and he had all these different things. That's very much personification, because we know that polar bears don't live that way. They don't have grandfather clocks and beds and blankets and live like humans. Also remember that personification could include anything that's a non-human. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an animal. It could be a chair, it could be a table, it could be a pencil. If you have a pencil talking, then that's definitely personification, not with an animal though. Again, given that effect, given that making you feel like you're a part of the story. And if the story has fantasy in it, which would have animals talking and stuff, then you're able to connect more with those characters, and the author's using that personification to hold your attention and make you interested in the text. So when you get to 6th grade, we jump from this whole idea of what are these things and can you identify them? Read this paragraph and find the simile. We jump from that and we jump to questions like this. And I want you to read this question with me. This is the kind of question that you're going to see on the EOG and on your practice test, on your NC check-ins, or any kind of assessment that you have with your teacher on the standard. This is the kind of question you're going to see. What is the effect of the simile as used in the passage? It may be specific. It may say line 37, or it may say paragraph 5. But just so you're familiar, used in the text, I was just very general. But what is the effect of the simile? Why did the author put that simile there, and what effect is it having on the rest of the text? If we were reading and it said it was as hot as fire, then the effect on the text is to show the reader the temperature in the environment the story is taking place. Now, that's not something that you may be used to in elementary school. In elementary school, you may have just been able to say, oh, it's a simile and be done. Now we take it a step further. We have to go with the effect. Not necessarily, you have to know it's a simile to get the question right, but you also have to know why is it there? What is it contributing to the text to make it better? All right, let's practice. One of my very, very favorite books to teach and read, Inside Out and Back Again. And I'm going to read a couple, and we're going to talk about the effect. A seed like a fisheye, slippery, shiny, black. What figurative language is it? What literary element there? It is a simile because it uses as. A seed, a seed like a fisheye, slippery, shiny, and black. And it's just describing the seed. So you can get a picture, imagery in your mind's eye of what that seed looks like. It's a papaya seed in this text. But it's giving you that simile to make you get that mental picture. Slippery, shiny, black, like a fisheye. You know what a fisheye looks like, so you're using your prior knowledge to get that mental picture. Here's another one. Let's do it together. I vow to rise every morning to stare at the dew on the green shaped fruit shaped like a light bulb. What is it? It's a simile. It uses like, right? What is the effect? Why is it there? It's showing that papaya is shaped like a light bulb. So it's giving you that description and that comparison with something that you're familiar with. Does everybody know what a light bulb looks like? Yeah, everybody knows what a light bulb looks like. So it's describing it to you in context so that you can compare it to something else and get that mental picture. All right, now I've helped you with two. Now I would like for you to try. Can you try one? Her brows twist like laundry being wrung dry. Pause the video, take 10 seconds, and tell me what you think the effect is of the simile as used in the passage. Her brows twist like laundry being wrung dry. Okay, you should have paused the video and come back. Now, what do you think is describing her mother? What do you think her mother's brows look like? Her brows twist like laundry being wrung dry. Have you ever taken a shirt or something and wrung the water out of it? You squeeze it. So how do her eyebrows look? They're very what? They're very wrinkly. She's very what? She's very worried. She's very upset. She's very scared about what's to come next. And the author here is using that simile to give you that mental picture of what her forehead looks like. It would be quite so boring if author said she was worried. I mean, sometimes we have to write like that, but it's so much more interesting to be able to get that simile, be able to get that picture in your mind's eye. You see that laundry, you see her brows, and you're like, oh goodness, she is worried. If you have any other questions about figurative language, please email your teacher and have a great day.